Next on the news, students take the field at Maimonides Park as the Diocese of Brooklyn prepares to celebrate Catholic education at Catholic Schools Night. But before the Cyclones play, there's another highly anticipated game.
The Colors will go up to bat against the Scholars as principals and priests face off here in Coney Island. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll tell you more about that coming up.
3 retired teachers with decades of experience in the classroom were honored by the diocese's superintendent of schools. Plus,
good afternoon, Trans St. Stan's.
She's always on call. For the last 30 years, Marge Migliaccio has been the go-to person at St. Stanislaus Kostka Church in Maspeth for the work she does on and off the clock. She is tonight's Pulse of the Parish. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. Those aren't angels in the outfield. They're principals and priests who are celebrating their students during Catholic Schools Night. It's a match 6 years in the making. Scholars versus Collars at Maimonides Park. The game is a fan favorite for Diocese of Brooklyn students who are the center of the Catholic Schools celebration in Coney Island. Currents News' Katie Vasquez is there now to give us a sneak preview.
Hi, Christine. As you can see, it's a beautiful day for a baseball game here at Maimonides Park. The field is empty now, but soon it will be filled with principals and priests playing against each other in a friendly competition known as Collars versus Scholars. Now, last year, the Scholars actually beat the Collars 11-1. So we'll see if they can redeem themselves this year with some new players on the field. But this is also a way for kids to celebrate the end of the school year. On top of the baseball game, they also receive a special awards for the valedictorians and salutatorians. So it's a great way to celebrate all the importance of Diocese of Brooklyn schools and all that they have to offer. Stay tuned to Currents News and the tablet because we'll have all the details as well as the final score. In Coney Island, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
It's bound to be a nail-biter of a game as right now the principals are in the overall lead. So like Katie mentioned, be sure to tune in online to currentsny.tv to see her full report on Catholic Schools Night. The Diocese of Brooklyn also recently celebrated 3 devoted retired teachers who each have decades of service to Catholic education. The community at Our Lady Queen of Martyrs Catholic Academy giving the educators their flowers on Monday for their lasting impact on generations of kids in the Forest Hills, Queens area and beyond. Deacon Kevin McCormick, the superintendent of Diocese of Brooklyn Schools, led the prayer service for the retired educators, calling it a privilege to honor their legacy. Currents News will be looking back on this amazing year in Catholic education during a special week of programming. We'll be on hiatus the week of July 4th, but don't worry, there will still be lots of great specials to see, including a look at Pope Leo's journey from a small hometown in Chicago to the Vatican. And another highlight, taking a deep dive into the soon-to-be first millennial saint, Blessed Carlo Acutis. We'll be back on Monday, July 7th. Now to a woman who seems to never take a break. Marge Migliaccio is a longtime parishioner at St. Stanislaus Kostka in Maspeth. But you won't only catch her there on Sundays, she's there all the time. And tonight, she's our Pulse of the Parish.
Good afternoon, Trans St. Stan's. This is Marge speaking. How may I help you?
If you need help at St. Stanislaus Kostka Church in Maspeth, everyone knows you call Marge.
It makes me feel good knowing that I'm helping somebody. I just like to do that. It's rewarding to me. It really is.
On Saturdays, you'll find this parishioner of 30 years here in the rectory. Sifting through the donation envelopes collected during Mass, this is Marge Migliaccio's paid job. But it's the unpaid jobs she performs for the parish that are most rewarding. Marge is a volunteer for the parish's St. Vincent de Paul Society, putting bags of food together for people in need, sometimes delivering the food and other items to families in the neighborhood.
They're so thankful. The children, that's the part that gets to me. They come running out and they're looking in the bags because to them, they're getting all this food and they're so happy with it, you know. So we come out of there and I say to myself, I thank God for everything that I have, because there are people out there that don't have.
As a member of the Rosary Altar Society, Marge helps to make sure the church looks nice by decorating it with flowers.
A reading from the Acts of the Apostles.
She's also a lector, helps the military through Matthew's mission, and is on the parish council. Pastor Monsignor Joseph Calise says Marge has a great gift of making people feel at ease. That's why he handpicked her for this weekend job.
She is so welcoming, you know, and when people come, when people call, they just feel comfortable in her presence. You know, they know that they can talk about what they need. They don't have to be shy about coming into the rectory. She has this wonderful sense of respect for other people.
After 46 years in customer service at Empire Blue Cross Blue Shield, Marge came out of retirement for this job. She says she enjoys doing things for the church, and the church can count on her to get the job done, whatever that job may be.
I keep myself busy and I like it, you know, and as long as God gives me the strength to keep doing it, I'll do it.
And now you know Marge Migliaccio from St. Stanislaus Kostka and how she makes up the pulse of the parish.
Joining us now with more about St. Stanislaus Kostka Church is the pastor, Monsignor Joseph Calise. Hi, Monsignor.
Nice to be with you, Christine. Thank you.
I'm so happy you're here. So, Monsignor, Marge seems to do it all. Do you have a lot of parishioners like her?
We do. Now, most of our volunteers are very dedicated. And there are a few people that are involved who aren't involved in more than one thing. You know, the interests go way back. And people are just very much involved in the parish. It's wonderful to see.
Yeah, that really is nice. And I know St. Stanislaus Kostka Church was built about 153 years ago by German immigrants. What's the demographics now?
Demographics now is way different than it was when it was originally built. Actually, the parish's transfiguration, St. Stanislaus Kostka, it was officially canonically merged in 2019.
Right.
So the needs that Marge and those groups would meet are really for both churches. The parish encompasses both areas. And we just have a lot of people that are very much involved. We look at the two parishes together. There were German and Lithuanian. And our Lithuanian Mass is maybe 3 or 4 people on a busy day.
Wow.
The population now is still very much immigrant Irish. Some Italians who've been in the neighborhood for a long time. There are still some Germans and a lot of Poles.
Oh, wow.
Holy Cross Parish is right next to us. And that's really the center of the Polish apostolate for this part of Queens.
Right.
So a lot of those parents send their children to our academy, and they become more involved at St. Stan's or Transfiguration because of that.
Right. And I know the shape of the church is pretty unique. It's kind of like in the round. What are the benefits of having the pews set up like that?
You know, the benefits of having the pews set up like that is it brings everyone closer. Now that becomes particularly important because one of the most growing ethnic group are the Spanish-speaking. And I say Spanish-speaking because there's a large group from Mexico, there's a large group from South America.
Right.
And they just meld together very well. And that, it just makes a much more home type of atmosphere because everyone is sitting around the table. Now, as a homilist, it's easier to use a church like Transfiguration where everyone is out in front of you. But just that spirit of community that it builds up with everyone gathering around the Eucharist adds a lot of warmth. It adds a lot of closeness.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell that. And you mentioned the Catholic Academy. I know you have a thriving one. You have an active sports association. So if people are coming from all different parishes, how do you get everybody to, you know, maybe have the families at Mass together?
Well, once a month now we have a family Mass. And once a month we highlight a different grade. And so, for example, the first graders will come and they'll bring up the gifts. They'll greet people at the door. At the end of Mass, they'll sing a song, and their families come, and that brings grandparents, it brings aunts and uncles, and it brings a lot of their brothers and sisters in older grades. So we're doing our best to get everyone there together. We just had a carnival, and we really center everything around the Academy schedule, because we know that that's where a lot of the family presence is going to be.
Right.
You know, we have our group of longtime parishioners, and they're set, and they're going to be with us. And
Right.
we do our best to meet all of their needs. But we're trying to attract the younger families, and really the best ways for us to do that are through the Academy and the sports program.
Absolutely.
We've actually begun having a sports program Mass once or twice a year. And it's just amazing to see the support that that gets.
That's great. It gets everybody into church and back to Mass on a weekly basis, hopefully. Monsignor Joseph Calise from St. Stanislaus Kostka Church, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having us, and thanks so much for highlighting our parish, and in particular Marge. She's a wonderful lady.
She really is. Thank you. And before we go, do you know someone who is the pulse of their parish? Email us their story at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.
7 men called to serve God.
And waiting for this moment, it's just unbelievable. I can't believe it. I can't believe it that it's coming to fruition.
After years of study and service to the church,
I discovered that being a seminarian, being a deacon now, I discovered that there is so much joy.
they have reached their big moment.
There's nothing as beautiful as you wake up on Sunday and everybody knows what day it is.
Ordination Day, when they kneel before their bishop and say,
I know.
they come from all walks of life and different countries.
I was very good just following schematics, doing a lot of electrical and diagnostics.
With different inspirations and people in their corners.
He always told us, remember to pray, to get a good night's sleep, to play sports.
And now those experiences will help them spread the word of God.
We need to be spiritual fathers. We need to be spiritual physicians, and we need to bring healing.
This Friday at 7 on Currents News, meet the Diocese of Brooklyn's newest priests.